これによって女性プレイヤーの多くが性別を偽って女性を演じている男性、いわゆるネカマであることが判明。
So basically, the game's equivalent of an outdated and offensive term to describe people who wear clothes associated with a different gender. Of all things in this special, this hasn't aged well.
いや、ネットゲームの世界の男女比は圧倒的に男性率が高い。
According to this survey, your statistics are way off, as the ratio of male and female gamers is actually close to half and half. This could more or less change in the years to come, but it's still a bit close-minded to say that males make up the high majority of gamers.
かっこいいヒーローになりたいやつもいれば、かわいいお姫様になりたいやつもいるってことさ。
もしかしてキリト君もお姫様になりたいって思ったことあるのかな？
Well, Asuna, you were half right on the money, since Kirito would have a more feminine look in Gun Gale Online, albeit against his own will, thus not exactly wishing to be one. Also, if these are your thoughts, not a good idea to say them out loud next to Kirito.
アバターの顔や体つきは変えられないけど、髪型や髪の色は自由にカスタマイズできます。
Which does explain why Liz has a different hair color in episode 7 compared to episode 1. But I would have liked to see that explained in the actual show instead of relying on these chibi specials for info like this. It just shows how bad the show's storytelling is.
愛と正義の使者クラインです。
Balls Deep 69 suits you better than something cheesy like Messenger of Love and Justice.
クラインさんはキリトさんと最初に出会ったプレイヤーで、キリトさんの数少ない友達でもあります。
数少ないは余計だ。
It's true though.
まずは第1話よりこのシーン。
Now do you see why I think Balls Deep 69 suits him better?
クラインさん、見事にやられてますね。
No, he was getting his crotch kicked.
ちなみにこの青いイノシシ、某国民的 RPG でいうところのスライムに相当するモンスターだったりします。
You mean this thing from Dragon Quest?
ゲームだと現実の自分とは違った容姿にすることが多いからな。
やっぱり他のゲームで女の子になってたりして。
It's not like you knew, but again, he would become one in GGO, though unintentionally.
あんたもあぶれたのか？
あぶれてない。周りがみんなお仲間同士みたいだったから遠慮しただけ。
俺刺されるかと思ったもん。
You willingly approached her, hoping she would join your team. No way did you think you were gonna get stabbed.
安全に攻略するためのレベルマージンは階層プラス10レベル。
I'm no RPG expert, but having to grind for 10 levels before reading a boss efficiently must be a frustrating chore. A roadblock for newcomers for sure. Kirito's life coaching corner? Is this what inspired the Abridged team to create the Kirito is Always Right Foundation?
では今回の相談者はこの方です。
お名前をどうぞ。
It's Klein. It's easily Klein. You can tell by the silhouette before he talks and before he reveals himself later.
聞けはキリトの野郎。いえ、キリト先生は女性にモテモテだとか。
You're talking to him right now. Just cut the act already.
いや、別に俺モテてないですよ。
Asuna, Sachi, Sinon, Alice, Ronier, TSA, Sortolina. Hell, he even mentioned Silica and Lisbeth in reference to scenes that take place after the episode shown in the playback corner. So, how are you not popular with women again?
他にも探検使いの小さなアイドルビーストテーマーシリカちゃんとか、ツンデレ美少女鍛冶屋のリズベットちゃんとも仲良くしてるって話だし。
キリト君。
Calm down. Those things haven't happened yet.
ツンデレ美少女鍛冶屋のリズベットちゃんとも仲良くしてるって話だし。
Lisbeth is a blacksmith, yes, but a tsundere? No way, and frankly, none of the prominent female casts in this series have that archetype, at least to me.
だいたい悩み相談ってのはさ、まず相手の話を親身になって聞くことが大事なんだ。そうやって話を聞きながら少しずつ悩みの原因がどこにあるか探ってくんだ。もちろん原因を単に指摘するだけじゃないぜ。特に悩みの原因が相談者自身にある場合はじっくり腹を割って話して 原因が自分にあることを自覚させる。
Sound advice, Klein. It's no wonder this segment was renamed to Klein's Life Coaching Corner later on.
お前前に NPC の女の子に声かけてたもんな。
Oh really? Did she say the same lines over and over?
We must save my family!
Best name for a production company ever.
探検使いでありビーストテイマーでもあるアイドルのシリカさんにストーカーの噂です。ストーカー疑惑をかけられているのはソロプレイヤーとして有名な黒い剣士 K さん。
Just blocking out Kirito's eyes isn't going to cover the fact that this K person is Kirito. Hell, the terms black swordsman and solo player were already enough to give that away. And Kirito has the perfect opportunity to put these rumors to rest by saying he wasn't stalking her. He was helping her get the Numa flower, the item needed to resurrect Pina.
俺シリカと同じ年くらいの妹がいてさ。
That kid's sister is your cousin, a fact you knew about during your time with Silica.
I call her my little sister, but she's really my cousin. We were raised like brother and sister since we were babies, so I doubt she even knows. But I know.
第3話から第5話までのプレイバック始めようか。まず第4話よりこのシーンだ。
Spoilers, but none of the clips they show is from episode 3. Perhaps Sachi and the other Black Cats were so wasted in potential that these specials intentionally glossed over them.
キリトさん、そのアイテムは？
ミラージュスフィアって言うんだ。
この後キリトさんと二人きりで過ごしたんです。
キリトくん？
いやこれは単にミラージュスフィアっていうアイテムを紹介しようと思って選んだだけなんだ。
Since you won't explain what it is, allow me. The Mirage Sphere, as demonstrated in the clip Kirito showed, is a device in Sword Art Online that produces a map of the desired area in 3D, with features portrayed in great detail.
しかし今思えば寝てるうちに顔に落書きでもしてやればよかったな。
I guess that's another thing from these specials that Abridged took inspiration from. Seriously, this is SEO Abridged before SEO Abridged. If you don't have good ears, those two screams might sound the same to you. Which scene did you request anyway?
では S さん、相談っていうのは？
実は私には
The twin-tailed hairstyle, the cutesy voice, the S. How could it not be Silica?
でもその人は攻略組の方で私よりもずっとレベルが高いんです。
S さん、その男性はレベルが低い人を相手にしないような人なんですか？
You do realize Silica is talking about Kirito, right? If you connected the dots at that moment, you would have glared at Kirito, going full yandere mode yet again.
戦闘以外でも一緒にいる方法はきっとあるはずです。告白するのは勇気がいるけど頑張ってください。
わかりました。私やってみます。
Actually, I take that back. You should call this segment Asuna's Life Coaching Corner, since she's doing a better job at giving advice than Klein at the moment.
彼らは第55層に生息する白竜の巣に潜入し、
They snuck in? You act like they went there intentionally when really, they fell into it by accident.
彼らの素性も不明のためクリスタライトインゴットの研究が本格化するのはまだ先になりそうです。
The clip you're showing right now has Kirito saying what the item is. There is no reason for these investigators to do any research on it.
へえ、クリスタライトインゴットの正体ですが、なんと白竜の
どうしたんだ？読めないなら俺が読んでやろうか。
私が読む。
No, you should let Kirito read it. He's the one who found it, and he knew what it was before this special. Save yourself from any embarrassment, or if you don't want to call it poop, call it something that's easier to say, like excrement.
もしあの剣が折れた時は私のところに来て、きっと直してみせるから。
ああ、その時は頼む。
あれ？二人って仲いいんだね。
Kind of a whiplash from the jealous yandere Asuna we got from the previous episode, don't you think?
その時はその時。
And that didn't cross your mind right after Kirito broke it? And besides, if you didn't need any money for the dark repulsor you made for him, why would you need some for your broken quote-unquote masterpiece?
うそ。まさか壁を走って登ろうとする人がいるなんて思わなかったわ。
もう少し助走できれば登れたはずなんだけどな。
There was plenty of running space on that wall, unless you meant space from the flat surface.
このコーナーはソードアートオンラインの世界で暮らすさまざまな人たちのお悩みをクラインさんがズバッと解決するコーナーです。
前回は全然解決できてなかったけどな。
Which is why, again, it should be called Asana's Life Coaching Corner instead. Hell, in this segment, Asana is the one giving advice for the second time, further backing up my claim.
ではエルさん、相談とは？
はい、これは友達の話なんですけど。
If you couldn't guess who this character is, you are a terrible liar.
アスナさん、女性から見てエルさんに何かアドバイスはありますか？
エルさん、事情は分かりました。このお話、私が全面的に協力させていただきます。
アスナさん？
You were the one who let her talk, so please do.
自分で自分のニュースを読み上げることになるなんて。
Why not get Kirito to read it then?
少し考えればこのゲームに子供を作るシステムがないことぐらい分かりそうなもんだけどな。
でもマニュアルに載っていない倫理コード解除設定があるくらいだから。
I guess that must be how they were able to do the thing in chapter 16.5 of the novels.
今回はゆいくんがゲストに出ているので私が代役を務めている。
Nice job on spoiling today's guest, you idiot.
でも私、パパでも勝てない相手知ってるよ。この人。
あー、確かにこれには勝てないわ。
ちょっとこれ何？
Don't get mad at Kirito. Yui is the one who showed the clip of you half naked.
なんでここでママ裸なの？
A, she isn't fully nude, more like half naked, and B, she wanted to do the thing with Kirito that we don't see in the anime. Probably for the better.
ソードアートオンラインでは腕や足などが切られて V 欠損しても数分で自動回復する。
Nice piece of trivia there, Kayaba. I would have liked to see that explained in the actual show, though. Just a passing line of dialogue would have done it.
コウノトリさんは赤ちゃんをどこから連れてくるの？
キャベツ畑からだ。赤ちゃんはキャベツの中からポップするんだ。
Ignoring the fact that this guy just took one of the oldest myths about where babies come from, does this mean we engage in cannibalism when we eat cabbages, since we're also cabbage people?
それは多分温泉だな。
写真も撮ってきたんだよ。見て。
I'm just gonna pause here, not just so the viewers can see the blink and you'll miss it frame of Asuna and Yui in a hot spring, but also so I can ask this. How did Yui get a camera to take a selfie? Is it one of those cameras from SAO2 before Kirito made one for Yuki?
この度の100層到達前のクリアは第75層のボス戦、もしくはボス戦後に何かしらの特殊イベントが発生したのだと考えられますが、真相は謎に包まれています。
It's not a mystery. The footage you're showing takes place after the revelation that Heathcliff is the final boss of SAO. Beating the game before floor 100 was due to defeating the boss of that floor. The floor 100 boss doesn't need to be in floor 100 at all times. We're 5 episodes in this group of specials, and it feels like the effort has taken a nosedive. Chiefly the lack of bending on the character sprites compared to episode 1, not to mention the lack of mouth movement in some places. Did the animators not care anymore?
以前にラーメンに似ているようでラーメンではない微妙な料理を食べたことがあってな。あれも醤油があればもしかしたら。
団長、そこまでラーメンにこだわりが。
He and Chika would get along very well, I'd say.
もし西田さんが釣り上げていたらあのモンスターに勝てたかな。
He wouldn't stand a chance. He's not a swordsman, he's a fisherman.
既婚者でなく独身の女性司会者への交代、もっと喋りのうまい解説役の起用。
You're right about the single woman part, that being Lifa, but that loquacious commentator will still be Kirito since he's the main character.
一番多かった意見はこの人生相談コーナーにちゃんと役に立つ相談役を据えること。
Not gonna matter since there's no life coaching segment in the Alpine specials. Instead, we have slot talk. Although you're right about Klein being incompetent throughout all the life coaching segments, since he barely gave any advice at all.
トリビアのコーナーは好評なのでそのまま残そう。
I bet the reason it was popular was because of Yui.
特に前回臨時で登場したトリビア担当者は素晴らしかった。
That stand-in trivia master was you, Heathcliff. You're complimenting yourself.
思えば君たちと攻略以外の話をする機会はこれまであまりなかったしな。
You spoke with Kirito and Asuna a couple of times in your meeting room, not what I'd call a raid.
では次はソードアートオンラインブルーレイ &DVD 第6巻でお会いいたしましょう。
お会いできるのか？
Not you, but Asuna will, albeit as a guest.
ニュースヘッドラインです。ってこれ何ですか？ちょっとカメラさんちゃんとしてください。もういい加減にして。
The cameraman should have been fired after that, and yet he sticks around for the remainder of the episode. If he was fired, we wouldn't be getting any more close-ups of Leafa's breasts, which frankly got old as the episode went on.
今回から番組がリニューアルされ出演者も一新されています。
Not really. Sure, you're an all-new addition to the cast, but Kirito is still present as a secondary commentator, and Yui is still hosting the trivia segments. Something Heathcliff said should stay.
前回以上に楽しい番組をお届けいたしますので
The only new addition to the Alfheim episodes is Slot Talk, which is different from Life Coaching Corner, but not necessarily more fun.
だけどコントローラーがないとまだちゃんと飛べない。練習して早く上手に飛びたいよ。
Oh, you'll get good at it very quickly, because you're Kirito, so of course you're a fast learner.
ゲームの名称であるアルブヘイムも北欧神話に登場する妖精の国のことなんですよ。
Technically, Alfheim actually means the land of elves in Norse mythology, but Kawahara used Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream as a source for some of the mythology in Alfheim Online. In that play, along with other works that were written in the late Middle Ages, the terms elf and fairy were used interchangeably.
今回はゲストがいないので私とキリト君で進めていきます。
I can understand not including a guest in this episode, since besides Kirito and Leafa, there aren't any significant characters in episodes 15 and 16 that would make an appearance. Retcon could maybe join, but we only saw him for a few seconds, so I wouldn't say that's enough for him to be a guest.
キャラクターの容姿はランダムで生成されます。
このゲームって容姿を自分で選べないんだよな。
気に入らなければ追加料金を支払って作り直すこともできますけど
Having to pay extra money just to change the appearance of your character is yet another failure of game design. I can imagine people spending hours and a lot of money just to get their character to look the way they want because of it.
リーファはどんなタイプが好きなんだ？
私は年上がいいです。
By how much? I hope it's not by more than 6 years, otherwise you'd be purposely engaging in some pedophilia.
キリト氏はシリフ領のシンボル的存在である風の塔に突撃しましたが破壊工作は失敗。
He wasn't attempting to sabotage the area, he was trying to land. You were there when it happened, remember?
アルブヘイムの王オベイロンが無知猛邁な君たちへ英知のかけらを恵みに来てやったぞ。
Please don't. I already groan at your mere presence.
ただし君たちが僕の名を口にするときはオベイロン陛下と呼ぶように。
Too bad for you, because I won't. It's too much of a mouthful and I prefer Sugo.
呼び捨てはアカウント削除の刑に処す。
You could have done that to Kirito the moment he said your real name.
エッチな話や映像は禁止ですよ。
まだ前回のこと根に持ってるな。
You could have easily reassured her that they fired the previous cameraman and replaced him with a new one for this episode. After all, the clips you're about to show aren't what I'd call perverted.
私なら OK なわけですか？パパにくっついちゃダメです。
Where did you come from? I didn't hear the teleport sound effect play, so it can't be that.
ゆいちゃんいつの間に大きくなったの？
ああ、ピクシーサイズだと話しにくいだろ。
Now that you mention it, I don't think we've ever seen Leafa talking to Yui while she's normal sized in the actual show, especially in Alicization, where we always saw Yui as a pixie fairy.
リーファちゃん無事だったの？
リーファさんの恋人さんですね。
違います。ALO を始めるときにいろいろ教えてもらっただけで。
And yet, he still needs to fly with a controller, unlike you. Actually, why isn't Retcon the special guest in this episode? It would have been far more entertaining to see him and Leafa banter back and forth about whether or not he's her boyfriend than simply having Yui be the guest again. I think Leafa knew that, hence why her startle comes off as weird to me.
俺が変身した時もリーファすごいびっくりしてたよな。
Based on the actual episode, her reaction doesn't necessarily come off as scared, more like amazement?
キリト君が倒されちゃうんじゃないかってもう気が気じゃなかったんだから。
He was a fucking boss monster from SAO, going up against a group of salamanders that are ants to him. There was no way he was gonna get killed in that situation.
あの時はリーファの援護のおかげでほんと助かったよ。
Wait, what? No, I swear I didn't edit anything out. That's exactly how the playback corner for this episode ends. It's rather abrupt, combined with the delayed sound effect from when the trivia segment started.
神々しいほどの美しさだろ。いや、僕ではないよ。彼女。
Yeah, I think I got that, thank you.
カビが生えた雑巾を見るかのような侮蔑に満ちた眼差しがたまらない。
I hate you. You are so disgusting.
とにかくやり直しましょう。スロット再スタート。
Wait, did you actually restart the slot, or did it not allow you to? I don't know. I guess I'll have to lean towards the latter.
パパが好きな人は誰ですか？複数回答可です。
もちろんユイとママは大事だぞ。
キリト君、さっきからそのパパとかママっていうのは。
Even in these chibi specials, Kirito still insists on keeping Leafa in the dark about who that mommy is. Sugu already knows the person Kirito often visits at the real-life hospital, so if he says Asuna, this should allow Leafa to connect the dots, but alas, that isn't the case.
挑戦からほどなくしてキリト氏はリメインライトとなって発見されたとのことです。
And then you came in to get him out of the grand quest and bring him back to life afterwards. Are you deliberately ignoring that part?
本日はキリトさんの追悼特別企画をお送りいたします。
By life of Kirito, you mean his game life and not his real life, right? Because that's all you talk about.
思えばキリトさんは ALO をプレイし始めた時からこうして最後を迎えるまで番組に多くの話題を提供してくれました。
Yeah, why not talk about his life in SAO as well? The playback corner in this episode covers episode 22, the one where you found out who Kirito truly is. Surely you could discuss his life in the previous game knowing all of that.
ごめんね。今はまだ私、お兄ちゃんと顔を合わせられない。
He's your cousin, you idiot.
これに対抗できるのは最強の剣エクスキャリバーしかありません。でもエクスキャリバーがどこにあるのかは諸説あって今のところは見つかっていないんです。
And of course, you and your little gang will find it later in the freezing depths of ALO. And no, I'm not counting that one time Kirito summoned it using administrative privileges during his fight with Sugo.
ケットシーにとっても彼は恩人だったのにこんなことになって本当に残念だよ。
Since I'm covering a special that's only in Japanese, I'm just gonna say this. Alicia is voiced by both Chiwa Saito and Christina V. Both also voiced Homura Akemi, a stark contrast to Alicia. Goes to show how much range these actresses have. I think by this point, we should just believe he could beat just about anyone. He's just that OP.
レコンみたいに情けないやつも困りますけど。いや、レコン君はレコン君で頑張っているとは思うが、シグルドの裏切りを暴いたのは彼だったんでしょ？
You never thanked him for that, by the way.
キリト君には女性を引きつける何かがある気がする。
It's called main character status.
続いてのシーンはこちらです。
Notice that they skipped episode 21, which mostly takes place in the real world. In fact, they don't show any IRL scenes in these playback corners. What's weirder is that in season 2 of Offline, they do show IRL clips in their playback corner segments. So why the turnaround? Were they not comfortable with showing those clips yet?
だからもう本当に残念で。
よし、やっぱり決めた。
おお、やっと出られた。
I know it's for mercenary reasons, but I like to believe Sakuya thought this joke wasn't funny anymore, hence why she broke Kirito out of his coffin.
まずはここを出ようか。
お兄ちゃんダメ。
お兄ちゃんと言ったか？
いや、違います。
You might as well spill the beans at this point. The gloves are already off, and it's cousin, and you know it.
シリフだけ、ケットシーだけじゃなく、他にも種族を超えた協力をしないとグランドクエスト攻略はできない気がする。
And yet, those are the only two races that come to help you, Lifa, and Recon during your second attempt at raiding the tree, so this talk is ultimately rendered moot.
妖精たちの飛翔時間の制限が廃止され、アルブヘーム上空にはソードアートオンラインのアインクラッドが出現。
I bet Aincrad's rebirth was the sole reason for the flight times being lifted. We all know you're lying, Mr. Subtitle. There's of course going to be fan service scenes in this, if you count that gross scene between Zuko and Asuna as one.
ごめんな。
これはというか、私とキリト君は兄弟ですし。
For the last time in this video, you're both cousins.
キリト君、女の子泣かしちゃダメでしょ。
The clip Lifa showed was lacking in context. Had it not, and thus showed why Lifa was crying, Asuna wouldn't have come to that conclusion.
アスナ。なあリーファー、俺は横島なことなんかしてないぞ。
ちょっとうるさいです。
God damn it. Why did you say that, Kirito? No wonder you're getting beat up a lot in this episode.
甘い。
よし、俺は出てないぞ。これなら安全だろ。
私があんなひどい目に遭っているのに、よしなんて言うんだ。
What did I just say? It's bad enough they decided to show the clip at all, but now Kirito isn't thinking of others.
困っている人や傷ついている人がいると、いつの間にかそばに来て助けてくれるの。だけど、どうして毎度毎度可愛い女の子ばかりなのかしら。
You make it sound like it's intentional, which it isn't. At least I don't think so. Perhaps Reki knows the answer.
ね、現実世界の方でもキリト君って女の子に人気があるの？
Well, in season 2, the girls from Sinon's school were looking at Kirito, so... yes?
SAO 時代に俺たち第22層にあるログハウスを買ったんだよ。
それで新しいアインクラッドにも同じ家があると聞いて、今度もまたキリト君とユイちゃんと一緒に住みたいなって。
Too bad the floor and by extension the house are inaccessible as of season 1 and extra edition. The wait for them to be unlocked must have been agonizing.
また皆さんとお会いできる日を楽しみにしつつお別れしましょう。
Which won't be for very long.